I fell flat on my face coming up the steps. It was quite nice. I'm sort of overwhelmed because I'm so happy to be here and seeing all these clips of Jerry's work. And Craig, Stephanie, I sort of envy you for having gone through all this material in order to find the things that you're sharing with us. The feelings about Jerry were so strong. I share with Fran the feeling that we have helped save part of the world due to Jerry. My emails were I just sent the same one all the time. It was done, because he would send all these things saying, please vote for, please protest, please do this. They were all things that were close to my heart, certainly close to his. And I would just say, done, after I had done what he said. And certainly as the mail and the emails and the calls and letters started coming into the legacy about Jerry, there were certain messages that I think I'd like to share. There are two of them in particular before we show you some of the music that was so close to Jerry's heart. When he was up on the Cape, he had been playing with some of the musicians up there, and he'd always been writing music. And so Kevin Clash decided that he wanted to hear some of this music in his own home, and helped put together, along with many others, this album called Truro Daydreams. And that kind of music and the versatility that you've seen from all of these clips of Jerry's is on this album that you will hear. But first, let me just read two of the letters that I really would like to share. One of them is from Duncan Kenworthy, and Duncan worked with Jim Henson and the whole group on Storyteller and Gulliver's Travels. He also produced Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill, and Love Actually. He worked on Fraggle Rock, was a part of that at the very beginning. And he also started out on Sesame Street, where he was first in New York and then did an Arabic version in Kuwait. He's in London, he couldn't be here, but he did send this, and he writes, Jerry was a Muppet's unsung workhorse, creating any number of wonderful characters over his career, but never quite stepping into the limelight. He was such a lovely, generous man. He looked and sounded like a Hell's Angel, and he had a wild side in performance, but he was, in fact, the most mellow, discreet, gentle, and charming of us all. And it's probably Jerry's singing and performing voice that sticks in my memory the most of all the Muppeteers. Who else could do gravelly and heartbreakingly cute at the same time? It's very sad he's gone, but boy, did he make a mark on the world. And then there's Jim Lewis, who was the editor for Muppet Magazine initially, and then became primary in-house writer for many years. And he wrote, I was working on a Muppet project where the basic idea was, where would the Muppets be if Kermit had never been born? So I asked all the performers about where their characters would be with no Kermit. And Jerry wrote to me to say, if there was no Kermit, that's like asking where I'd be if there was no Jim. And that's crazy. I can't imagine it, and I don't want to. As for my characters, Robin would have survived, but it wouldn't have been pretty. And Floyd Pepper would have been a burned-out case, but that isn't far from what he's doing now. But New Zealand, he would have been just fine. Boomerang fish throwing never goes out of style. I feel the same way about Jerry, he says. Like a boomerang fish, he never goes out of style, and he'll always come back to us. So what you will see next are some outtakes or some of the things that were done during the taping of the album, as well as some more personal things about Jerry, his family, and his life apart from Muppets. So please enjoy, and if you'd like to hear the album fully, I think they have it in the shop as you leave the museum.
Makes a lovely Christmas.
Yes, and thanks again for sharing these memories that we have. It's been quite a culture for all of us.